It started with the lights in cell block 3 turning off, even though the power was never scheduled to go out. And I remember, because the guard on duty kept repeating over the intercom that nothing has changed, stay in your cells. Except something had changed. Because the sound of the place shifted like the whole building had taken a breath and decided not to exhale again. And that was the first night I understood that jail is not just walls and locks, but a listening thing that reacts to you when you stop pretending it's just concrete. And I had already been transferred twice before that, so I wasn't new to the system. I wasn't the scared type anymore, but I also wasn't prepared for how the first facility felt normal compared to what came later, because the first jail was the one I tell people about when they ask what it's like inside. And I usually lie a little and say it's just loud and boring and full of counting hours. But what I don't say is that in that first place, I learned there are rules nobody writes down. Like never answer your name if it's called from the hallway after midnight, because sometimes the guards don't call you like people anymore. Sometimes it sounds like your own voice practicing your sentence before you even get it. And I remember the first time I heard it, I was lying on the top bunk staring at the ceiling vent when I heard, "Hey, you," from the corridor, soft and close, like someone was right outside the bars. And I sat up thinking it was a mistake. But then it came again, exactly my name this time, not shouted but spoken like it already knew me. And I looked down and the man in the lower bunk was awake too, staring at the door without blinking. And he whispered something I still don't fully understand, like, "Don't give it your attention twice." And I asked him what he meant, but he just turned over like he'd already said too much. And the guard's footsteps never came, which was the first strange thing, because there are always footsteps, even when there's nothing else. But that night there were none. Just the voice repeating my name once more before fading, like it had been walking away while still talking, and I didn't sleep. And the next morning the man in the lower bunk was gone. Not transferred, not moved, just gone. And when I asked the others, they all looked at me like I had imagined him entirely, which was impossible, because I had seen his face, I had heard him. But in jail, the worst thing is not being afraid of something. It's realizing you might not be able to prove it ever existed. And that was only the first facility, because the second place is where things started repeating in patterns that made no sense, unless the building itself was learning us. And I got moved there after an incident they called non-compliance during transport, which was just me refusing to enter a van that already had someone inside who was sitting too still for a person who hadn't been restrained. And I swear when the door opened, I saw him smiling without looking at anyone. But when I pointed it out, the officer said the van was empty except for me. And that's how I ended up in the second jail, where the rules were different. Or at least they pretended they were the same. But on the first night, there I noticed the cameras in the hallway didn't track movement properly, like they were always half a second behind. And every time I walked past them, I could see my reflection a moment after I had already passed, which sounds small until